Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to start with the Tempest series, and if you have already seen my video on ISC 2024 syllabus, you will already know that you only have Acts 3, 4 and 5 in your ISC examination. So today we are going to briefly talk about the important incidents that took place in the previous acts. Though you have Acts 3, 4 and 5 in your syllabus, yet it is important that you know about the major incidents of the previous acts. Otherwise, you will not understand the later acts properly, because in the later acts also we will see that the characters refer to the previous incidents. We will also look at certain concepts related to the play, and we will try to briefly recall these important elements so that we can utilize this and we can learn the play better and we can write better answers in our examination. So let us get started. So you already know that the play Tempest was first performed in 1611, and it also came out as an opening play in Shakespeare's collected works in the year 1623, which was published after Shakespeare's death. Now there is another important concept that you need to know, that is the concept of tragicomedy. Now what is tragicomedy? You can note this down in a piece of paper, that the mingling of tragic and comic in one dramatic piece is known as tragicomedy. Now you will see that in Tempest you have the mingling of tragic and comic elements together. You will see that the darker themes of Shakespeare's tragedy, like regicide means to kill or conspire to kill a king. You have the theme of usurpation and vengeance very closely associated with the play. Now, since these darker themes are present in the play, so we cannot call it a light-hearted comedy, so it has been categorized as tragicomedy. Now you can use these concepts and details as an introduction in your answers. When you write answers on Tempest, you can utilize these details. This will give the examiner an impression that you not only know the text thoroughly, but you are also aware of the background history of the play. So please keep these details in mind. Now let us look at the major incidents that took place in the previous acts. Since it is one single play, we need to remember at least in point form the major incidents that took place in the previous scenes. You can sit with a piece of paper and pen and you can jot down the points that I am mentioning now, because this will help you to remember the incidents, and you will see that I will not go into very great details regarding the incidents or scenes. I will keep it very brief, and I believe that it is going to be helpful to you all. So let us start. Act 1, Scene 1, you will see it begins with the tempest or the storm, and then we see the shipwreck. We are introduced to the members of the royal party. We have characters like Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio and others present on board. And we see that the play begins with a lot of disturbance and discord and confusion. Okay, now let us quickly move on to Act 1, Scene 2. In Act 1, Scene 2, we see that we are introduced to the major characters. We are introduced to Miranda, Prospero, Ariel and Caliban. And we also in this particular scene we also know about Prospero's past. We understand that why is he on this island with his daughter. Towards the end of the scene, we see the beginning of the subplot, the romantic subplot. We see that Ariel lures Ferdinand towards Miranda, and he uses music in order to bring Ferdinand to a place where Prospero and Miranda were present. So, these are the major incidents that took place in Act 1, Scene 2. Now, let us quickly move on to Act 2, Scene 1. We see in Act 2, Scene 1, the noble party, they are all stranded on the island. And we see that Ferdinand is missing, obviously because Ferdinand is separated from the rest of the party, and he is present near Prospero and Miranda. So the rest of the members, they think that Ferdinand is dead, he has drowned. We see Gonzalo, the loyal counselor of King Alonso. He tries to console the grief-stricken Alonso, and in his attempt he talks about various things. He talks about the ideal commonwealth here only to distract the king's attention. We also see Antonio and Sebastian, and we know about their conspiracy. They truly emerge as the villains of the play because they attempt to murder King Alonso and Gonzalo. And we see towards the end of the scene, we see that their swords were drawn out. They were about to murder Alonso and Gonzalo when Ariel comes in and whispers something in Gonzalo's ears and wakes him at the right moment. Now we come to Act 2, Scene 2, which is the scene of crude comedy where we see Tranquillo and Stefano meet Caliban. Caliban offers his services to Stefano because Stefano had given him the celestial liquor, that is the wine, which Caliban had never tasted before, and once he tastes it, he feels that Stefano is no ordinary being. He is perhaps a celestial figure. He is perhaps no human, and he must have come down from the heaven. So he immediately offers his services to Stefano. Now these are the major incidents that took place in the previous scenes. The next scene is Act 3, Scene 1. Now before we start with Act 3, Scene 1, I will today briefly introduce the main elements or the main ideas that you can find in Act 3, Scene 1. In Act 3, Scene 1, we will see that it is placed right after the crude comedy of Act 2, Scene 2. It is mainly because Shakespeare, as a playwright, he had materials that would entertain every section of the society. He had written the crude comedy for the groundlings, for the commoner who were present there in his audience. And the next scene, Act 3, Scene 1, which is truly poetic, was written to please the members of nobility present in the audience. So we will look at Act 3, Scene 1, and we will analyze its language and the way it has been presented. Okay. Now there is also another important idea that we can find in Act 3, Scene 1 is the idea that how in this particular scene we see how Ferdinand expresses his devotion and love towards Miranda, and we will also see that how Ferdinand's experience and Miranda, who is absolutely inexperienced and who represents innocence, would express their love for one another. and how this scene truly turns poetic because of this particular contrast. In this scene, we also see Prospero, who is present there in the scene, but he is unseen by the other characters. And we see that this scene is truly important to him because a lot depends on this scene. All the other actions in the play, you will see, he could control through magic, but this particular scene, this engagement or this romance that bloomed between Ferdinand and Miranda, he had no control over it. So he himself is present for this particular scene. We will we will get into the greater details of the scene, and we will study the scene line by line. I will explain each and every footnote and word meaning to you all in the next video. However, if you have any question or any doubt regarding the content of this particular video, you will please ask your questions in the comment section. I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you like my work, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I will meet you all in the next video. Thank you.